Very good, gamers. How are we? This is Games and Chill, and I'm sick today. You will notice a little, not in discouragement, but in that I have a bad throat. I can sometimes make the screams I hit, or the animation, or energy I put in it. Some things, but remember that this gentleman here from the screen, usually. Try hard enough, sacrifice yourself enough, and preach by example. Quite about the discipline, and although all my close circle and the team of the team channel that I warned them when I felt a little bit worse in my throat. Now, I'm better than possibly because there was going to be a small stop of 1 or 2 days, because he could not do neither content nor stream, for here is the Lord. Like a little boy who's sick, they tell him not to go out there. Street and the child wants to go out to play. Today we're going to see the confirmed banners of the 5.4 in-depth analysis. You know it's been since the live stream confirmed that they're Mizuki Siwin, a powerful character, incredibly broken, that everyone, you want it on your account. And if you don't have it, you're willing to spend it. Your proto-games on this piece of people, and joke. For the new ones it's a joke. It's a joke, it's irony, it's sarcasm. Is what should have been Chaska as an anemo in field that can enable you. Multi-reactions with supports outside the field, i.e. with supports that hit E from outside the countryside, but Mizuki goes to the permanent with which many of you are not going to take Mizuki out. Perhaps until the 28th of September that they give them for free because always once a year they give us A, and then FURINA and Riosley. To what extent has Riosley improved with NATLAN? Or how important is this famous FURINA C2 you're waiting for? So leave a good like, a good ulti minute, subscribe, leave a good comment to it, and thank you for enjoying and watching the channel video. Thank you for all the love and support, and especially thank you for maintain so much concretely. I always explained this project and this channel in all concrete in low Genshin times, because it is true that when there are times, Genshin casualties are noticed and greatly affected in general, and yet normally. Specifically YouTube, Twitch, and this server make it stay quiet. Well, you're very recurring, and I thank you infinitely, so you know why. Comment, give like, and those things that don't cost anything. Participate once a day in a lunar blessing draw, and we go with the analysis of the banners of 5.4. Alright, for a lot of people, and I think we already know after 5.3 that he didn't come. Map 5.4. I think you're taking it for granted, and you know it's a version of what? Saving for stuff, friends, a version that many people already feel going to suffer, and that will be eager for a lot of content, a new map, and so on. But it seems that the 5.5 comes very strong, and remember that the height is watching this video possibly in a week after, when there are already some like 3-4 days before 5.4 is officially released. Beta of 5.5, and even if 5.4 is bored, we will surely see many links and very interesting information about the beta of 5.5, always subject to Mizuki and Siwin. That's going to be the biggest skip in history to many, and many of you do well because you've been dry with her. Mavuika, Sitlali, Arlecchino, and Clorind Arlecchino. After Mavuika, I think he's a character who's had less reception than expected despite of being a record breaker the time he literally came out. It's his first run, because Mavuika, like Carry Pyro, has overshadowed it. Yeah, I'll make a video inside, little waiting for it through the channel from characters who have overshadowed others, or characters who may or may look like they are obsolete or become obsolete within a while, so wait for that video. But the fact is that the first half at least is a spectacular saving. Mizuki has it looks good, and I'm thinking about getting the truth out to make content of it, and it is interesting. More surely, do not worry, not be broken, is just funny is a carry anemo in the field that also cures a species. Versatile support, but kind of does its function within the field. I made you a video of the kit that is around here, but basically Sheeta more mastery, more buff to whirlwinds, and besides, as it is a Nemo, will go green shadow, i.e. green shadow. Triple mastery and recharge to throw the ulti as you use in Kazuha with a, which many of you can completely rotate Kazuha's set to Mizuki for anyone who wants to take her out and not the pre-farm aid that is usually very bad. of mastery as the sacrifice for stars that do play in a heater, and do have a Mizuki kit, and on the other hand, Tiguen. Out the irony at the beginning of the stream, i.e. the stream of the video, is a character that never worked it doesn't have. Xenagis in nothing, and I did mention you in some videos when it came out that the C2 as low resistance to cider as well could be as a compliment to the Fae. Neuvilette Furina Katsua sie gewinne or Neuvilette Furina gelonen team sie gewinne, but the reality is that far less practically anyone in the Moray Genshin Impact community has the C2 of Sigewin. There is a Sigewin team, where he throws the ulti but clear is the same as a Neuvillette team, but for Sigewin, playing Furina Katsushilon, trying to locate everything that beat. It may be Sigewin's damage, but there's not much more I'm not sure if I'll do. Sigewin built, or at least one what happens to Sigewin, to explain to you why he's really gone straight to category -F tier Amber Chiche. And it's not Petey's Breaker because it's not permanent. But if it was, I'd break it. But I can if you want to make a video of Sigewin for the May Sigewin. So let me in the comments, there's nothing more to say, is a skip, of course. And if Mizuki for those who are curious or Sigewin for those who like the character at design level was part of it contributing more or less, and then Mizuki and FURINA ... Riotously surely in this gentleman's last build, but while it is true that the design is 20 out of 10 as Mr. Papu Legendary judging. Both in Fontaine and mainly in NATLAN, and besides being an element that reacts with Pyro, being NATLAN the Pyro reaction, the Pyro Nation, and also with the intention of Hoyoversu to improve Alversi. The elements that react with Pyro in that nation and rescue reactions. Less specifically used Riotously playing to melt many times. Apart from Supermafrost, which is solid and strong, is basically the less carry. Profited by Mavuika and the nation of NATLAN or Rio, Tuyo. And what happens that in Permafrost Riotously never beat Yaka. But this fact is not important either, because the Permafrost is still unable to use, even though in this abyss, it is. Being able to use up very punctually and very strong on inverted but I could play in this abyss in the first half, and then the teams of Riotously melts logically were always solid in Genshin each. There is more variety and almost any character can pass any chasm, if you have knowledge and the right equipment, but within the best teams of the game, Riotously even has very difficult to enter even the top 10 current, then Riotously to this day is already like a carry cryo of the I mean, a lot of people can be offended that you say Riotously is a carry of the pile. But it is the reality today. Karis above Mr. Riotously, and being half of the Karis characters in Karis Impact, Riotously has gone to a lot to say a bag, because almost 50-60% of Genshin characters who are there as well in Pokemon, that there is a 30 tier Pokemon that repeat themselves in competitive because it is goal, and then here and then the other 800-900 Pokemon that are there spinning because you don't play. Sometimes people like others, not because this is the same Riotously as a character that if you liked the design very much you can throw for it, but if not, we also have melting equipment, and if permafrost that approaching Snazenaya, maybe we hope the main permafrost will one day revive the permafrost, or it is played in another way, or the melt is worked much more on Snazenaya, and perhaps Riotously will benefit, but today Riotously is in the average more than anything would be whether you like it or not. And Furina for the who doesn't have Furina is already fascinating my throat. I've already recorded for a little while. The Furina video at the end is one of the two best Genshin Impact characters for any account in my opinion, next to Mavuika, and ranked by the majority 99% of creators of Genshin Impact in it. Which means in a gacha, a character that you should throw yes or yes on your account in any circumstance, not only by design, lore and all this that in the end is the most subjective and relative and what less weight and importance can have, but for everything that will solve you in the course of progress, and above all, fun of your account. And not only that, but I really don't think there's a video aside, but I already spoke at the time the C2 of FURINA is one of the more powerful game. The cone makes it not only start with 150 points that already You know if the team loses or earns a living, and FURINA with her elemental makes losing life because it gives you harm inflicted with these points. The cone increases you to maximum at 150 more points, and also makes you start with 150 points. The C2, which does directly, is multiplying the pointing much more quickly with what you do on many occasions than teams you least. Synergy have in about 5 seconds already have all the loads of FURINA, but that also gives you life to FURINA once you overcome the burdens with which in E combination with very powerful heaters, FURINA can reach between 50 and 60 KS if it. Apart from this cape ratio and recharge, it makes the best sub DPS of the game, apart from providing 100% damage inflicted on the entire team, i.e. Y. A break is an absurdity in the best of the senses and is one of the best characters of the game, and the C2 is one of the best C2 of the whole game. Plus, as there is much need for hydros, i.e. you all know that less with I. Mavulua gut goes with Sitlali. Almost all the carries today use some Zion. Hydro FURINA is used with Nevilet, with Alekino, with Kamin. Go Kamin with O. Sitlali improved, but not all you have to walk with Kinich. The best in slot is with A. FURINA, Arzo, and Hutao teams with double hydro equipment Raiden nationals that go with Xingqiu Yelan, then in the end have a FURINA, even though already have Elano to Xingqiu will solve you and enable you to play more teams with 2 Hydros in one and a Hydro in another. And even if these characters Xingqiu have come out, never stopped being obsolete, you can choose it before in the right, the flashlight, and there's the build over here, or I recommend you to see. So FURINA is the pick of this banner, and I think you're all looking forward to taking it out, those who go all the way. Leave me the comments who has FURINA C2, or who already has FURINA and is saving and will not go for C2, or who would like to do 2 despite, who doesn't have the possibility, or who already has it, C2 and just 5.44. That person will be a definitive and legendary full skip where he will only look past the banners, and this is the analysis of the banners of 5.4 in priority. Always gives FURINA. The other 3 characters are totally disposable. I mean, they're not mandatory and it's just for taste, and then even for you. I would recommend to think if you have a lot or leftover Protogemas is that while I'm thinking of seeing our Genshin's players and he doesn't have the spares Protogemas, but for the hypothetical case of someone who saves a lot, and very well, have self-control in not spending everything to the minimum. FURINA's C2 is actually what most recommended of this banner. Will change any equipment and account in general, and from there wait for the 5.5 that is said to come 2 new characters. Among them several of this image that is over here on screen, of which the Phi Hoyoves himself. We read several silhouettes of various characters that would come in the future. Little more care, much to have. Very good day and bye.